What's going on, 7th and 8th graders? Hope you all enjoyed the long Labor Day weekend. Let's dive into this week's lesson. We are going to go back to code.org. So to get to that, of course, go to quick links on the cadmiddleschoolsaints.com. Then you got to go through Clever. Again, you've got to log in through Clever to get to today's lesson. Then yours probably said log in with Google, and of course you will always do that. And you're looking for this icon right here, code.org. It's the 4 boxes, spells CODE. And let me get to our unit, which is, and it should pop up at the top of your screen, Unit 1, Problem Solving and Computing. It's under the Computer Science Discoveries. Now, this is a personal preference of mine. I'm going to be choosing the grid view. In my opinion, it's a little bit easier to keep track of our progress. Now, last week, you finished Chapter 1, and what I do love about code.org, you can complete your assignments. You don't have to turn anything in. And I can go in and track your progress pretty easily by looking over here, and I can go into what section. So make sure you're completing these in a timely manner. So this week we're going to be doing Lesson 4, What is a Computer? Let me again get into that grid view. It's a little easier to manipulate and keep track. Okay, we're going to be doing lessons 4 and 5. So let's click bubble 1. And we're actually going to skip this activity. It's a good one. We just didn't have time. If you want to print those activity guides out, you can. But again, that's optional. And we're diving into the question, what is a computer anyway? How does it process information? So, and that first activity kind of did that, and I thought it was a little bit on the elementary side, so we skipped that. And we're going to watch this video, What is a Computer? You can watch that. I'll go ahead and watch it here so you can watch one.
Hi, I'm Nat. I was one of the original designers of the Xbox. I've been working with computers since I was maybe 7 years old, and now I work on virtual reality.
Computers are everywhere. They're in people's pockets, they're in people's cars, people have them on their wrists, they might be in your backpack right now. But what makes a computer a computer?
What does make a computer anyway?
And how does it even work?
As humans, we've always built tools to help us solve problems. Tools like a wheelbarrow, a hammer, or a printing press, or a tractor trailer. All of these inventions helped us with manual work. Over time, people began to wonder if a machine could be designed and built to help us with the thinking work we do, like solving equations or tracking the stars in the sky. Rather than moving or manipulating physical things like dirt and stone, these machines would need to be designed to manipulate information. The earliest computers were made out of wood and metal, with mechanical levers and gears. By the 20th century, though, computers started using electrical components. These early computers were really large and really slow. A computer the size of a room might take hours just to do a basic math problem.
These machines are things of gleaming, vari-colored metal and numerous flashing lights.
Computers started out as basic calculators, which was already really awesome at the time, and they were only manipulating numbers back then. But now we can use them to talk to each other, we can use them to play games, control robots, and do any crazy thing that you could probably imagine. The computers we use today look really different from the earliest thinking machines. And who knows what the computers of tomorrow will be like. My hope is that you get to help decide what you want the computers of tomorrow to look like.
So, like the video mentioned, a wheelbarrow was invented to help with physical labor. Computer invented to help us with our thinking kind of labor, I guess you could say. So we've watched the video. We're going to go ahead and click continue. And this is where we get into our activity. It's called input and output. Now this handout, this worksheet is actually on your Google Classroom. I posted it yesterday. It's called input and output. So go ahead and open that document. All right. So let's take a moment and look at the definitions of input and output. They're very similar. Input, the information computers get from users, devices, or other computers. Output, the information computers give to users, devices, or other computers. Now, what I want you to do on your handout, I want you to highlight the words that are different, make them bold, make them size 18 to make them stand out a little bit. The information computers give to users is output. Input is what you get from users. So a good example of this, the Saints travel to Macon County High School tomorrow night for a big football game, okay? Now, if I wanted to go to that game, I'd take this right here, my phone, and I would go to Google Maps, and I'd type in Macon County High School. What I'm typing in, that is the input, okay? That's what I'm inputting into my machine, my computer that I've got right here in my pocket. When I click go, it gives me an output. It gives me directions to Macon County High School. It gives me an ETA. It gives me maybe traffic issues that might be along the way. But that's the output, what it's giving to me. So they're very similar, but they're very also different as well. Input's what you put in, and output is what the computer spits out to you. Now, we're going to play around with this and see if we can figure out the inputs and outputs of a fake app. I'm going to go back to code.org, click continue, and over to the left, this is called the App Lab, and then it's a pretend app that they've created. It's called the Pet Chooser. And we've got to figure out what the inputs and outputs are. So I'm just going to mess around with this. You do the same at home. So let's see. Let's see what pet I should have. Are you allergic to pet fur? No, I'm not. Do you like going outside? Yes, most of the time. Would you rather go with the crowd or be different? Well, if you know Mr. Noakes, you know I'm a little different. Oh, a goat. I should have a goat. That makes a lot of sense. I am the goat of DMS, greatest of all times, and that's going to help me with mowing my yard, so that makes a lot of sense for me. Now, all jokes aside, let's go to the input and output. We're going to do the first one together. Now, input, we got to think. What did we put in? Well, we put in our questions, didn't we? We answered the questions such as, are you allergic to pet fur? That was a question. Another question, do you like to go outside? And then I'll just say, etc. So all the questions that were answered, were listed, we answered. So that's the input. We answered those following questions. Now, what was the output? Now, the output is at the end of the app. It tells Mr. Noakes what pet that he should have. Goat. There's a dog in there, and I don't want to ruin it. And I'll just put etc. You answer what your answers truthfully and see what animal you get. But whatever animal you get is outputs. Okay? So play around with it, see what it kind of inputs and outputs it. Outputs rather. Now the rest of the handout is yours. You're going to go to the next app, Story Creator. So you're going to go to the next app here. And notice on bubble number 3, it's going to say at the top, Story Creator. So you're going to fill out this, and you're going to see what happens. And then you're going to fill out what kind of things did I input, and what kind of things did the app give to me. You go down to the next one, Improved Pet App. That's at the very end, bubble 4. Now it's actually asking what kind of inputs, what inputs do the user get, what the phone sensors give you, what does the internet give you. Okay? So you got to figure out what are the inputs for this. It's a little different. It's an improved pet. And then I want you to brainstorm. See if you can create an app of your own. The more unique, the better. Well, that's some really good ones in class. And then figure out what kind of inputs it would have, what things would the user have to type in, and then what would the output be. And that's what computers do. Every time you open one up, every time you use it, you type a key. It's processing information that you put in, inputs and outputs. That's what computers do every single day. And that's a good kind of concept to know when we get into coding, inputs and outputs. So that's the lesson of the day. It's a short week. You can do it. Short assignment. That assignment again can be found on Google Classroom, and we're going to be using code.org with that. Hope you guys have a good week. If you need anything, don't hesitate to email me at justinnoakes@decabschools.net, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Try those out, and Mr. Noakes is out. See ya.